Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Monday. Good morning. It's Monday. It is Mindset Reset Monday. Hey, I am Sheila, Dr. Sheila, and I'm so excited. It is another week. It's Monday, and I'm excited because this week we are focusing on motivation, right? In all things, the stories that we tell ourselves, right? So we can stop it, right? We are talking about the lemons framework in the month of February, or the lemons condition in the month of February. Remember, lemons is just the lack of energy, motivation, organizational skills, necessary supports, and skill sets, right? That we need, right? Or that we're lacking, or that we don't have, that truly has us in this bind. Okay. So let's take a deep breath. Breathe in. This is your time. No pressure, just presence. I'm just so excited. We are back at Project Life, right? Where we turn theory into practice. All right. So, the routine. Drop a word in the chat before we dive in. Drop a word in the comments to describe how are you feeling this morning. All right, how are you feeling this morning? Today's theme is really stopping habits to build motivation, right, and focus on self-love. So this is the month of love. Friday was love day, right? And so this whole lemons condition is, how do we turn these lemons, right, into lemonade? And so this whole week, we're going to be really looking at how to stop it, right? Stop the stories that are preventing us from really having the motivation we need to align, advance, and accelerate our life. All right. Okay. So, I want to kick off today's conversation with a powerful quote. Okay. William Churchill, he said, perfectionism is the enemy of progress. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress. All right. Let's let that sink in for a second. How many, how many times have we heard ourselves or held ourselves back from making progress because we were waiting, right? Waiting for things, or the right time, or the right opportunity. How many times have we held ourselves back because we were just waiting for the right time? How often do we tell ourselves we'll start something, right? When we have more time, when we have more energy, when we have more confidence, when we have more education, when we get in a relationship, right? We're looking for this opportune time to do the things that we need to do, and the back door of that could just be this relationship with perfectionism. Okay. Because the truth is, perfectionism is just fear in disguise. Okay. It is truly fear in disguise. And today we're letting that go. Okay. We're going to let that go. All right. So let's talk about the truth about perfectionism. All right. So today we're talking about stories, right? The stories we tell ourselves about motivation, and how perfectionism tends to sneak its way into our lives, right? And drop a one in the chat if you told yourself one of these stories. All right. So story number one: I have to be motivated to start. I have to be motivated before I start, right? The truth is, though, that motivation doesn't just magically appear. Motivation doesn't just magically appear. It comes after you take action, right? It comes after you take action. So how perfectionism ties with motivation, if you believe that you need to feel ready before starting, perfectionism will keep you stuck waiting for a feeling that sometimes will never come. Put a one in the chat if you told yourself that story. I have to be motivated to start working out. I have to be motivated to start my diet. I want to be motivated to, right? Okay. Story number 2. If you told yourself this, I can't do it perfectly. If I can't do it perfectly, right, I shouldn't be doing it at all. If I can't do that thing perfectly, then it just ain't for me. How many times have you told yourself that? Okay. Listen, progress is built through consistent, imperfect actions. Project is built through um consistent imperfect actions, right? So this belief creates this. It's a filter, like an all or nothing mindset. So instead of taking one small step, we delay our actions waiting for the perfect plan. And I always tell people that, you know, as you go. I know that there's a biblical scripture that, when in the story of Jesus, right, where he healed somebody, and it was like as they went, they were healed, right? So a lot of times, as we go, the majority of the time, we develop as we go. It's like saying, I'm not going to start the gym until I get strong enough to lift the weights. When the reality of it is, lifting the weight is actually the thing that's making you stronger, right? But we have got caught up in these beliefs around, like, what do we really need to be motivated, right? And we've heard these stories like, I jump out my bed and I'm excited, or we watch these movies where we see people jumping out their beds and dancing to the music and like so excited, and we have an image that I want that, right? I want to be able just to get up just like that, right? And for life to in some way like shift for us. And so we're waiting for these perfect times. We're waiting for these perfect scenarios. We're waiting for the ideal day before we do the thing that we need to do. And again, like I said, it's kind of like, I'm not going to start lifting weights until I build muscle. And the truth is, you don't build the muscle until you lift the weights. All right. Story 3. I'll start when the timing is right. So how many of us have that project or that idea or that conversation, right? That we need to, we talk about, we desire, whatever, and we're waiting for when the time is right. Put a 2 in the chat if that story is one of the stories you tell yourself. Because the truth is, there is really no perfect time, right? Only the time you decide to start. That's the only time that we should be waiting for. When am I going to have the conversation? When am I going to launch the idea? When am I going to read the book? When am I going to go clean out that closet, right? This whole idea about this perfect time, and I'm going to right? Insert the perfect time there, right? That is a lie. That is a lie. Good morning, Dale. Good morning, Toto. Good morning, Roosevelt. All right. This is not true, right? And we'll be waiting and waiting and waiting, and that waiting is keeping us stagnant. All right. Think about how many times you've told yourself one of these stories, or and how many times have perfectionism made you wait to take action, right? And again, remember, perfectionism is like this secret little fear. Like, I want everything to match up. And if you've ever done a math problem, you know that there is the 1 plus the 1 equals the, right? Or the 1 minus the 2 equals, or the 4 minus the 2 equals the, right? So we are always in a formula, right? And we're solving for X. We're solving for whatever that is. And the action that we're taking is actually giving us the information that we need. And we have to really step away from this idealistic these idealistic thoughts that I need to be perfect or things need to be perfect, or if I do it and it comes out wrong, then I'm not good enough for that thing, which ties back to week one's conversation of lack. All right. All right. So the key takeaway here is that perfectionism can convince you that you need to be motivated to start. But in reality, just taking action, right, creates motivation. You don't need the perfect plan, right? You just need to begin. All right. Right. Because how many times have you stopped yourself from doing something because you didn't feel ready? Because it wasn't perfect yet. Perfectionism is one of the biggest barriers to motivation and self love because it keeps us in a cycle of waiting, overthinking, and never feels like, and you never feel like you enough or you have enough or it's the perfect time, right? So this perfectionism trap sounds like this. I will never have everything figured out before I start, right? I need to have everything figured out before I start. If I don't do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all, right? What if I fail? What will people think, right? What if I don't get it right? What if I blumber over myself? You know, here's the truth. Perfectionism isn't the goal. Progress is. And every successful person that you admire today, listen, every successful person that you admire today started before they were ready. They didn't wait for the perfect time because the perfect time truly doesn't exist. They just took the action. Let's talk about this whole even project life. Okay. I said I want to come on at 8:30. That was my intention. I'm come on every morning at 8:30. Like, I am trying to get this flow. Like I'm reaching out to people like, hey, what do you think about this? Right. Because I understand that each day I come on, this is a progress. But if I was waiting for the perfect time to really launch this program, to really get in front of the camera, to make the errors, to reset the cameras and all of that, which there was a time, right, where I felt like I needed the right backdrop and I needed the right, feels and all of that. And I realized that that was robbing me of an opportunity to serve the people that I was called to serve. So I'm going to get it right in the progress of doing what it takes. All right. So what this means is that if you listen, what this means for you is that you don't have to be perfect to be worthy, right? You don't have to have it all together to start. Okay. You just have to show up for yourself. That's the self-love part. And when you let go of perfectionism, right, you make a space for growth, for learning, for self-compassion, right? You make space for that, right? And you deserve to take up space in this world. You deserve to take up space in this life. You deserve to take up space in a relationship, even when you're still figuring things out, right? You deserve to celebrate your progress, even when it's messy. All right. Even when it's messy, you deserve to celebrate your progress. And most importantly, you deserve to move forward, right? Even when you're scared. You deserve these new experiences that you desire. You deserve this business, right? That you feel like you want to go into, this relationship, right? The type of life you desire, right? You deserve that. And it's not going to be like you jump into this outfit and it's just going to be tailor made for you, right? Life is about designing, right? And in this process of designing, I have to probably get it wrong to get it right. I probably have to lose to win, right? This is data. And again, as an adult, and I want to continue to emphasize, we are adults now. We're not kids anymore. And as a child, right, we got scrutinized for getting it wrong. We got whooped for getting it wrong. We got punishment for getting it wrong, right? We got judged. We felt insecure. We got embarrassed, right? Or if you said something wrong in front of the class, the whole class laughed at you, right? And so you built up this narrative that I'm going to get it right. I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to be the best reader. I'm going to have the best relationship, right? And so we set ourselves up for an idea that I'm not saying that you can't make it there, but it's going to take step by step, roll by roll, right? And if you went to Heaven Rich with Mr. Brush, I think he's singing this song step by step, roll by roll. Gonna plant these seeds I sow, right? All it takes is a rake in the hole in a place for fertile ground. Anyway, yeah. So this is a process, and I can't say it enough that life is not about a destination. It is about the process. It is about the journey that we're taking, right? In each step that we are stepping into, be it new, be it old, right? We are collecting data and we are changing the narrative. Each day we wake up, we're changing the narrative about who we are and who we are becoming. All right. Because movement creates clarity, right? Not the other way around. Okay. As we move, we create clarity. All right. So you don't have to get it all right today. You just have to begin. And when you do, right, God, the source of life, the creator of all things, has already celebrated your steps, even the small ones. All right. So imagine if you stop waiting until everything was perfect and you and just started showing up for yourself, right? What would change in your life? If you stopped waiting and just showed up for yourself, right? What would change in your life? How much time and energy would you be able to reclaim? Okay. What dreams would you finally pursue? Okay. Right. One of my clients, right, used to hard, struggle hard with perfectionism so badly that she never launched her business ideas because she was just so scared that she just wasn't ready yet. I just don't want to do it. I'm not ready for it. And her product was awesome. It was an awesome product, right? But the moment she shifted her mindset from it has to be perfect to I just have to get started, right? Everything changed for her, right? She does these journals, I mean, these beautiful journals, and and she went to a vendor show, and I'm like, listen, just do 5 journals, right? They don't have to be perfect because nobody really knows your level of perfection. They just see in your craft, right? And within months, she built a successful side hustle and gained the confidence, right? Now she's actually doing like a devotional book, right? Because she took this first step. And that's the thing. As you go, the information will come. It started off with the journal, right? And now she's doing devotionals. Okay. Listen, according to research from the University of Scranton, right? 92% of people who set goals fail to achieve them, right? And guess what? Perfectionism is one of the biggest reasons why, right? Studies show that perfectionism leads to procrastination, it leads to burnout, it leads to increased anxiety, making it harder to take actions, right? And sustain progress, right? But when we shift our focus from progress over perfection, right? They are more likely to follow through, build momentum, and develop long-term success. Hey, if that made sense, drop a fire in the chat for me, right? If perfectionism has held you back long enough and you're ready to release it, listen, drop a fire in the chat. If that made sense, drop a fire in the chat. Okay. All right. So motivation thrives on momentum, right? And perfectionism kills momentum. All right. Perfectionism leads to procrastination, which kills our motivation, right? No action, no motivation. I want you to think about motivation as the like your car, right? When you get in it, you gear the car up to 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles, and then you cruise, right? Because the momentum that you built is what actually is moving you or coasting you, right? Or when you used to ride your bike and you would get a nice start and then you would stop pedaling, right? because you don't have to pedal anymore because the bike now has created the momentum. Okay. So that is what motivation is like. We do the thing. We do the thing, right? Because first we build our habits and then our habits make us. So if this is something new, if this is something that you've never done before, if this has any type of fears around it or, beliefs or contracted emotions around it, right? You're not going to be motivated. It's going to trigger some stories of inadequacy, right? It's going to trigger some fear, but we get up and we do it. And the more we get up and do it, the more we feel pulled to do it. And then the more motivated we become to do that thing. My brother is online and I love my brother. My brother works out and you've heard me talk about him. Like he goes to work out almost every day, if not every day, right? Right. He like does these meal preps. On Sunday, he's gonna meal prep for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? I'm sure when he started that, like it wasn't like, oh, I'm so motivated to do this. But as he started to work out and as he started to build the muscle, right, it was like it was it made him probably feel bad to not do the working out, to not meal prep, right? Because he had built the momentum of going to the gym, of working out, of building the muscles, seeing his fitness, and once he got into it, right, that's what built the motivation. We talked about this motivational triad before, right? That either we're running from pain, we're running towards pleasure, or we're running towards pleasure, right? We're running from pain or we're running towards pleasure, right? And so sometimes we have to shift our mind that the things now that's painful for us that we're running from, right? We need to change a narrative to say, you know what? If I don't do that, it's going to be painful, right? And then we need to, the things we're running to that is creating like this pleasure, right? That may not be good for us. We need to change the narrative, right? To make that thing feel painful because that's just how our brain works. All right. Perfectionism creates all type of all or nothing mindsets, right? It creates this fear of failure, right? That ultimately leads, listen, to self-doubt, right? Which truly just drains our motivation, right? So let's celebrate progress, right? Not just the results, not just the outcome, because confidence grows when you acknowledge how far you have come. All right. Drop a 2 in the chat if that made sense. All right. And then you always know that in these bite-sized recipes, these daily intentions, right, that there is going to be a Bible principle that I'm going to use in a promise verse, right? And I'm doing this because, again, our language, sometimes we don't have the faith because doubt is so present in us. And so this principle is truly to one align, right, to give me a guiding post, to kind of give me a way to look at this thing. And the promise is what I can rely on because I have so much so much doubt. Like I can rely on this promise from the source. I always say this: if you're gonna believe a lie, because so many of us do, right? So many of us have come to believe lies, right? Then why don't you create a lie that's for your good? Put a 4 in the chat if you understand that. If you're going to believe in a lie anyway, why not create a narrative, right? A vision for ourselves and believe in it so much and have so much faith in it, right? That it aligns you, it advances you. Because the truth of the matter is, you are beautifully and wonderfully made, right? You are enough, right? You don't have to get it right all the time, right? But these are lies that we believe. We truly believe we're not enough. We truly believe that we have to get it perfect. We truly believe that we have to know everything about everything, right? And those are lies that we actually believe. So If you don't believe in the Bible, right, and you don't believe in a source, right, then why don't you just take the promise, take the principle, right, and just insert it temporarily, just to show you what faith, right? What faith really looks like. And faith is so important on our journey of transformation. We have to believe that there is something greater than us. We have to believe in a vision, right? That is true for us. I remember I was driving, and this is one of those days where life was happening to me, right, and through me. And I hear this whisper, like, remember the faith of a mustard seed. Remember the faith of a mustard seed. And I'm thinking, yeah. And then I hear a question like, well, what is the faith of a mustard seed? And I say, a little bitty faith. I just need a little bit of faith, right? And I'm like, and I hear this whisper come back and say, no, KNOW, know that the faith of the mustard seed is believing. The mustard seed believes in the fullness of the mustard tree. Listen, you talking about a mind shift for me when that download came up. So I'm thinking like, wait, so the faith of a mustard seed is not having this itty bitty faith, just enough faith to get me through, right? And it again, KNOW, know that having the faith of a mustard seed is believing in the fullness of the mustard tree. So Sheila, I need you to believe in the fullness of who I created you to be. Oh, okay. And that is where I felt like I started to lie to myself, because my fullness looked nothing like that day. Right? My fullness looked like me being of service to individuals, creating content, transforming their lives, right? Having multiple streams of income coming in, being able to do things that at that point I had not done. So I had to create this vision, which in my mind, I'm lying to myself, right? But it was the fullness of me, and it was the thing that I felt like I was designed to do. So I had to get away from perfectionism, the right time, the right circumstances, the right people, all of this rightness that I was looking for, right, and insert the vision, right, and find a principle to lean on out the Bible, and then lean on God's promise. And the promise that I have always leaned on was that, listen, everything is working for your good, right? In the midst of the storm, everything is working for your good. So our Bible principle today about this imperfection, right, is Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plan. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plan. Listen, the source is not asking you for perfection. He is just asking you for commitment. Listen, I'm not talking about the God up there. This voice inside of you, this energy inside of you, this calling inside of you is not looking for you to be perfect. It is just looking for you to commit to something that you can hold on to, something that you can say, I'm going to do that. I said I was going to do it, so I'm going to get up and do it, right? And it's ready to show up on your behalf. So your job is to show up, to take the steps, and to trust, right, that this source will guide you along the way, right? And this is where we start this self-love, believing in ourselves, believing in our abilities. And listen, I just truly believe God worked through people, and then the right people, circumstances, conversations will start to happen, because here's the promise. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, honey, but power, love, and a sound mind. That is Timothy, 2 Timothy 1:7, right? Fear and perfectionism go hand in hand, right? And both keep you stuck. But God has already given you the power to take the action, the love to give yourself the grace, and the sound mind to trust this process. So you don't have to wait for permission. All right. And if you need it, I'm giving it to you, but you don't have to wait for permission, because you already have everything you need. That is another principle I live by. All right. All right. Drop a 5 in the chat if that made sense. Drop a 5 in the chat if you felt that. I like that one. Okay. All right. So here's our action steps for today. I want you to write down one thing you've been waiting to start before, because it's not perfect yet. All right. If you got your workbooks, take your workbooks out. Right. Write down one thing that you've been waiting to start. But it's not perfect yet. Right. Then, and again, here's the work. Now, break it down into the smallest possible steps that you can take today. Right. So, what is one thing I can do today? All right. And then commit to doing it. Then commit to doing it. We can't eat an elephant in one day. Right. It's these small steps that, listen, we're going to take together, right? And if you need a session or you need like a breakthrough or whatever, remember we got Project Life where you can join that membership and get weekly coaching and actually learn how to become emotionally intelligent. When we become emotionally intelligent, our capacity grows. Our capacity grows. I heard a lady yesterday, and I just love this. She talked about this conversation around mental health and how, and I believe this as a therapist, and a big part of why I don't do therapy now, right, is because I feel like we have identified so much with our diagnoses, right? I have ADHD, so that's a limitation for me, right? I was diagnosed with depression, so today is a bad day. And because I'm depressed, I can just, right? And I'm not saying that those things don't exist. I'm not saying that they don't. But I think that this whole narrative of empowering us with mental health and, taking away the stigma in our community was not to then label us yet again and hold us down. It was to liberate this movement to say, hey, your mental health is your wealth, right? And we can do something to shift, right, our narratives. I really do think the shift was made so that we can have the breakthroughs that we were looking for. But what has happened, and I see it so much, is that we have become now victims to the diagnoses, right? We have overemphasized, like, we become our own doctors. We will deem people narcissists. We will, diagnose ourselves, right? Only to not do the thing, which can listen, which can be a form of this perfectionism, right? It can spill out this story. Now, people know I truly believe in mental health. I have a brother who has schizophrenia, seen him talk to people, see voices and all of that. I have a mother who, suffers from bipolar. So I'm not saying mental health doesn't exist. I'm just saying, ask yourself, does it exist at the level that I'm using it as a crutch in my life? Right? Or can I do something different? Right? Is it just that I don't have the capacity, right? The emotional capacity, to do the thing that I want to do? Because life ain't always about healing, you guys. Listen to me. Life is not always about healing. Sometimes life is about expansion. And the same feelings are going to come up when I'm trying to expand who I am from, from this 8-foot woman to this 12-foot woman. It may feel like a healing process, but it has nothing to do with me healing. I'm healed. This don't have nothing to do with my mama not showing up. This don't have nothing to do with me not having a daddy, me being molested or abused or beat or living in a violent home. The stuff I'm facing today is because I'm trying to change my circumstance from being 8 feet to 12 feet, which is a whole different view, which is a whole different level of elevation, which is a whole different thing. And it's triggering for me. And the triggers that I'm having is just only due to my desire to expand. It has nothing to do with my past. And I want you guys to understand that. A lot of us are just trying to change our circumstances and our conditions. A lot of us just want to be different than the environments that we grew up in. And we're facing a capacity problem. We don't have the mental bandwidth. We don't have the emotional bandwidth because we haven't practiced the thing. We haven't put the progress in. We haven't had the conversations. We haven't had the toolage. We haven't gotten the right coaches involved, the right people who can help us stretch and let us know that you're safe. You're safe in this. Let's stretch a little bit more. Okay, you're safe in this. And if you've ever stretched, you already know the first stretch is always a little tighter than the second one. And then you stretch again and you can go a little further that third stretch. Okay. And sometimes our life is truly just about the expansion. And so Project Life, listen, is helping you to expand in your love of self, your interactions with others, your focus in your emotions or your energy so that you can, we say this, there's also a Bible verse that says expand my territory, right? So that we can expand and become, right, the people we were created to be. And a lot of times I would agree that our past kept us from growing. But as adults, listen, it's your responsibility. It ain't your mama's, it ain't your daddy's, it ain't it. And when we become adults, we become the responsible people in our life. All right. Right. And we are allowing this thing called perfectionism, right, to be a fancy way for us to procrastinate, for us to hold back, for us to have a sophisticated excuse to not do the thing that we desire to do. And just by not doing it, I'm telling you, that is a weight on you that you're carrying. You're living a life right now that you're just existing in, right? And you have this deeper desire to thrive, right? To grow, to elevate. But these stories are getting in the way. All right. And the biggest story is the story of perfectionism, and it's taking our motivation, right? And it's taken away. So take one small action a day, just one. All right. And it's time for our affirmation. Today's affirmation, I want you to say it with me. And before we say the affirmation, if that made sense, put a 6 in the chat for me. Put a 6 in the chat for me if that made sense. If you really felt that. All right. So today's affirmation, I release the need for perfection. I release the need for perfection. I trust myself to take action. I celebrate progress over perfection. And I am growing, learning, and moving forward every day. Let's say that affirmation again. And remember, affirmation is just affirming. It's affirming a truth. And why do we use affirmations? To give ourselves a different way to see ourselves. Remember, sometimes we come from a space that we didn't get the language, right? So we're limited in our capacity to see ourselves different, not because it's not there, but because I don't have the language. So it's like I'm in a foreign land. I'm in China. They speak in Chinese. I have no idea what they're talking about. So sometimes we want stuff, but we don't have the language, right? Because we're always talking about what we don't want, right? And we truly need to affirm what we do want. And so an affirmation is there to hold the space. I release the need for perfection. I trust myself to take action. I celebrate progress over perfection. And I am growing, learning, and moving forward every day. That is the affirmed space. And an affirmed space is also a present and forthcoming space, right? It's a forward space. In this affirmation, you did not hear anything about what you didn't want, right? And how do I know that this works? Is because God said he didn't say, I think I want there to be light, or I don't want to be in darkness anymore. No, he said, let there be light, right? He affirmed it. Let there be light. And then what happened? Light happened, right? Okay. So if that made sense, you already know, put a 7 in the chat as we complete today with our daily intention. Okay. So we have the affirmation, which is the space in which we affirm, right, this future, this expansion of ourselves. Because I'm not saying that you don't need to heal. Now, I hope you didn't hear me say that. But a lot of spaces you have healed, and the emotions and the turmoil and things you're going through now is because you're trying to expand, and it's kind of like you are journeying in these new spaces. And I just need to let you know that that has nothing to do with your past. It has nothing to do with your mom, your dad, the abuse, none of that, right? It has everything to do with you finna cut down a whole forest. And that's going to take energy, and you're going to get tired, and you're going to doubt yourself, right? In the midst of creating this new life for yourself, right? And you need the support as you expand your life, because you need to build the emotional capacity, the mental capacity, the clarity, the vision, and all of that. So you need a mentor, a coach, or someone to come in and help you, or a program like Project Life. Okay. So our daily intention today, and so the difference in the day affirmation and daily intention, our daily intention is just setting the, setting, is putting our it's putting our lens on for what I want to see today, right? This is my manna for today. So today I choose to take action, right? I release fear, embrace growth, and show up for myself with confidence. So whenever something comes up today that, is fearful, then I say, you know what, I chose to take action today. Let me go on and take them clothes. Let me go on and, make that one call over there, right? So today I choose to take action. I release fear, embrace growth, and show up for myself with confidence. Listen, if this session resonated with you, you already know what to do. Drop a fire in the chat and let's celebrate our growth. And remember, right? If you can shape it in your mind, you will have it in your life, honey. This is Project Life, where we do what? Where we turn theory into practice. All right. So take one imperfect action today, right? Just one. And then if you want to, share it in the comments. Let's start holding each other accountable. Hey, you guys, this is Motivation Week. We talked about the stories we tell ourselves. Again, if that was fire and it resonated with you, put a fire emoji in the chat for me. And a couple of things I want you to do, right? I would like for you to invite people over, right? So let's invite our friends over. If you think this conversation can help transform their life, I have a goal to get 1,000 individuals in this group and 1,000 individuals on the YouTube channel. So go subscribe to YouTube, so you can get the notifications when I do Project Life or life lessons on Sundays, right? And then invest in yourself, right? Join Project Life, where we do the weekly coaching. You learn emotional intelligence. We do have the 3 levels. You can get the workbooks for this, and you can join that at SheilaLittle.com/Project Life. You can actually pay for the whole year if you would like. That program actually starts at $19.99, and you get a plethora of resources. Hey, let's start making this shift together. Okay. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow, as we talk about triggers. You have an amazing rest of your day. I thank everybody. I thank you, Jones. I thank you, Sharon, Latoya. Thank you all for being a part of this conversation. I love you all, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Till later.